first wanted to recognize that we respectfully acknowledge that we are on the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabe. We offer our gratitude to the First Peoples for their care and teachings about our earth. May we honor these teachings.
There will come a soldier who carries a mighty sword. He will tear your city down. Olay, olay, oh Lord. Olay, 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 oh Lord. He will tear your city down. Olay, olay, oh Lord. And there will come a poet whose weapon is a sword. He will slay you with his tongue. Olay, olay, oh Lord. Olay, 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 oh Lord. He will slay you with his tongue. Olay, olay, oh Lord. And there will come a ruler whose brow is laden thorn, smeared with oil like David's boy. Olay, olay, oh Lord. Olay, 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 oh Lord. Smeared with oil like David's boy. Olay, olay, oh Lord. Olay, 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 oh Lord. He will tear your city down. Olay, olay. Oh.
Hi kids, and welcome back to another baking video. So today we're going to be making some Chemist sugar cookies. Now, you're probably thinking, Chemist, what does chemistry have to do with cooking? Well, it's chemical reactions that create cookies and make them rise and cook the way that they do, but we're not going to do specifically that today. We're going to be making sugar cookies that are designed to look like chemistry instruments, and this is to indulge the whim that every teenager has when they're in their chemistry class of wanting to drink out of the beakers, even though it's definitely not good for your health. I know Miss Tousley, my chemistry teacher, was constantly reminding kids not to drink out of beakers, which, let me remind you kids, don't drink out of beakers. I digress. The first thing we're going to start with today is 1 cup of butter softened. So you're going to add that into your little bowl. To it, you're going to add 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. You don't use regular sugar because otherwise your cookies would be kind of grainy. We want them to be nice and smooth and soft. Next, you're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I added a little bit extra because I didn't want to use almond extract in mine. Then you're going to need 1 large egg. Make sure not to get any shell in it, and mix it all up till it's nice and smooth. To this, you're going to add 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar. This is going to act as a binding agent and help it rise really beautifully. Then you're going to add in 2.5 cups of flour, and you're going to mix it until it's almost combined, and then once it's still kind of dough-like, you're going to mix it together with your hands to form a nice ball. Once it's a smooth ball, you're going to wrap it with your cling wrap, and this is going to go in the fridge for 2 hours to chill before you roll it out. So now for rolling. I've lightly floured my surface here, and I have a rolling pin ready, and I also have off to the side a baking sheet with some parchment paper on it ready to put my cookies on. So I flour up my dough and I roll it out. You don't want it too thick. You want it about 1/2 inch thick, because then your cookies will be just the right size. Too thin and they'll burn, too thick and they won't cook properly. I'm using a circle cutter for some of mine, but I've also made this stencil of an Erlenmeyer flask in honor of our chemistry. And I just cut it out of cardboard. I'll leave a couple designs on the screen so you can see what I mean. But I just cut mine out of a piece of cardboard from a box that I had and used it to outline and cut with just a knife. I'm also using a spatula to help lift the cookies off the sheet. A trick that I learned, don't try to go underneath the cookie slowly with the spatula. You gotta go quick and it just scrapes it right off the bench. Those are gonna go in a 375-degree oven for 7 to 8 minutes or until lightly browned around the edges. Next, we're going to work on our royal icing. Royal icing is specific for sugar cookies because it's liquid, and then once you put it on your cookies, it hardens up so it doesn't move around or get squished. Into this bowl, I've added double of the recipe, so you can do half of this or you can do the same amount. This ended up icing most of my cookies, so I used 6 cups of powdered sugar. It seems like a lot. It does. So I would do half if you're just starting out. Half a teaspoon of cream of tartar, along with 4 egg whites. You don't want the egg yolks, you just want the egg whites. So I would separate them in a bowl separately and then add them to your mixture. And then I'm going to beat in the egg yolks with an electric mixer until it holds its shape. Now what you're going to see here is I have my icing all done, and I'm going to put a little portion of it into this bag. This icing is very thick, so it's going to act as a good border and outline for my cookie, so it's not quite as runny. For the rest of my colors though, I added a little bit of milk to help it fill out the cookies. Now all that's left to do is to decorate. I'm going to leave a couple pictures up to the side of ideas for what to do for your cookies. So I did an Erlenmeyer flask, and I filled it in with white and then filled it in with blue to make it look like there's blue liquid in this vial. I also did a couple of the elements from the periodic table, and I just outlined them with the thick icing and then filled them in with the nice liquidy icing so that it'll harden nice and smooth and flat. You can be creative and do whatever you want here. It's kind of up to you. I'm using a toothpick to help jiggle around the icing to make it look nice and smooth, as you can see with the blue one. When you're cutting holes in your Ziploc bags to make piping bags, make sure they're super small at first. You can always make it bigger later, but you can't take it back once you've cut it. So start small, and then if you need the hole to be bigger, just cut a little bit bigger. This is an opportunity for you to be super creative and do whatever you want. I really had a lot of fun making these. I ended up doing more after, not what you see in this video, because I really enjoyed making these little vials and stuff. These vials and Erlenmeyer flasks, because I loved chemistry when I was in high school, and I miss it actually. If you're going to be doing multiple layers on top of a cookies, for example, with the periodic table of elements, I'll put a picture of those up to the side. Do the bottom layer first, let it harden a bit, and then add your second layer of icing on top. Otherwise, they'll just sink into each other and blend and mix. I should have waited a little bit longer, but you live and you learn. As you can see, I've used carbon, americium, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'll put a picture up to the side of the different elements, and phosphorus to make camp out of periodic table elements. So I'm going to put quickly up on the screen the periodic table of elements with the names. I want to see if you could spell your name out using some of the elements on the periodic table. You can't spell sprinkles, unfortunately, because there is no L by itself, and thus I run into my problems. But if you're able to spell your name out of the elements on the periodic table, post them on our Facebook. We'd love to see your creations. And that's it for another S.T.E.M video. I hope to see you back tomorrow for our last video of this week, and then on Friday for our Zoom meetings. Until later. Bye!